How is it going, everyone? It's K-Limited here, and today we're going to be talking about the video game that just came out recently called High on Life. And this game is a first-person shooter, and it is made by the creator of Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland. And this game is, first off, a lot of fun. This game is a blast to play, and I had quite a bit of fun going through this, playing through the campaign, and just enjoying the wacky world that was High on Life. This sci-fi first-person shooter game looks great. Graphically, it looks really cartoony, but still looks really good. It's bright and colorful. I really like the way it looks. I like the guns that talk to you. There's a bunch of different guns that you get in this game, and each one has its own personality, and they all talk to you. All the characters in this game I actually liked really well, except for the sister, but, you know, I started to like her towards the end, and you'll see why once you get there. But I like this game quite a bit. It's a really fun first-person shooter, and I'm honestly really impressed with this game. And, not going to spoil anything, but once you beat the game, make sure you explore a little bit around more, because if you go to some of the areas that you have been before, you may find a little key card that lets you go somewhere, and you'll see a little bit of a secret ending that will set up a second game, which I hope happens, because I would love to play more games in this series. I would love this to become an actual game series, so we get to see more of these characters, because these characters are absolutely awesome. I love all of them. So in terms of the humor of this game, this is obviously more of a comedy-style game. I'm not a huge fan of the humor in it, but I'm also not a Rick and Morty fan, so that's probably why. The humor just is, it's constant, it's constantly throwing humor at you. Some of it hits, a lot of it doesn't, but again, it's not really my type of humor. If you're a fan of Rick and Morty, you're probably going to like this humor a lot more than I did. But I still like the characters, I still liked how goofy they were, and I still thought the characters overall and the game overall was charming. It had a charm to it, and I'm glad that it didn't take itself super serious. There were serious moments, but you always knew that, you know, no matter what happens, there's something just ridiculous that's going to happen, okay? It's one of those games. No matter how serious the situation gets, they're going to do something to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. The boss fights are really fun. I like the boss fights quite a bit. They actually start off kind of like the Borderlands fights, where it says the name of the boss and you get a quick introduction or whatever, and then it launches into the boss fights. Each boss is very different from one another, except for the very final boss. The very final boss kind of uses abilities that some of the other bosses use. But for the most part, the majority of the bosses are very different from one another. I like a lot of the different styles that they used, especially for Nipulon. His boss fight was very interesting and very different. And I thought it was funny how they actually used the achievement system in this game to kind of play around. And this game breaks the fourth wall so much. It is constantly breaking the fourth wall. It even talks about how it's a video game while you're playing it. And at one point it talks about how it's going to lose its E rating because of something that you do in the game. I love the fact that it actually breaks the fourth wall so much. I didn't think I would like it that much, but the fact that it did actually kind of enhanced my experience, just because it was funny to see that happen. There isn't a whole lot of, honestly, negatives to this game. I like pretty much almost every single aspect of this game. The one thing I can think of that's a little bit negative is that it does get repetitive, because it is a first-person shooter, and, you know, you are just kind of fighting the same enemies over and over again. It does try to throw you some different enemies to fight, but it really does just kind of feel like you're fighting the same guys over and over and over again, and I would have liked a little bit more variants of enemies to fight, just so I feel like I'm not, you know, doing the same thing over and over again, so I feel like, you know, each planet at least, or each area you go to, I would like to see just some sort of variant of the enemies to keep the game feeling fresh. So the story of this game is about the G3 cartel, which is an alien cartel that comes to Earth and kidnaps all the humans, including your family. And they want to capture humans for one reason, and one reason only: to use them as drugs. Yes, they are smoking humans, and they are dealing in humans. Biological creatures can be used as drugs in this video game, and you're basically the last hope for humanity left. You're going out as a bounty hunter to get rid of all the top G3 members to save humanity. And along the way, you meet these guns that are actually alien creatures that can talk to you, and they're trying to help you out because they've already lost their entire home. their entire home got destroyed, and they don't want to see another species lose their entire home, so they're helping you out. And I kind of like that dynamic between the main character and all these guns. It definitely built on top of the relationship, and I really like that. Another thing I like is that you actually do get to choose some dialogue options in this game, which does give a little bit of replayability value, because you can obviously replay this game and see what some of the other dialogue options give you. Nothing major, but that is something that I do enjoy whenever you get to make any sort of dialogue choices and stuff like that. Even if it doesn't change the ending of the game or anything like that, it's just simple decisions just to hear funny dialogue, basically. I still like that. I like that it gives you some sort of choice, because, any choice and any sort of just, more interaction with the game, to me, is always a positive. There's a lot of things that you can get in this game to help you in battle. You can get all sorts of different upgrades for your armor. You can get all sorts of different weapon upgrades to upgrade all these little alien guns that talk to you. There's all sorts of different stuff that you can do. All of these alien guns have different abilities that help you get through different levels, and it actually makes it so when you go back into a level just to kind of like explore in your free time, it makes it so you can go into areas that you weren't able to go into before. And that is the same with the suit upgrades. You can get into areas that you weren't able to go into before if you have some of the suit upgrades. So that's really cool. I like that. Again, it just gives you a little bit more playability, and I enjoy that. However, there's not a whole lot to do after you beat the game. There's not really any end-game content. You can explore more, but there's no objectives. I would have liked it if they did some sort of bounty menu that just keeps letting you go after different bounties, or even if you just have to play against the same characters over again and just do a new game plus. I would have liked something like that, but unfortunately that's not currently in the game. Maybe there'll be some DLC later on. I'd be up for that if they would be willing to do that, so we'll see. But I would have definitely preferred some more in-game content, because this is a $60 game, so for $60, I would have preferred a little bit more playability. So this game is about 11 hours long. That's not too bad, I don't think. I think that's okay. It's a $60 full retail game. I would have liked it to be a little bit longer, or at least have some sort of end game so I can keep playing. But unfortunately, there's really not much there after you beat the game. For $60, that's a big ask, I gotta be honest. But I played it through Game Pass, so I didn't have to worry about that. And if you have Game Pass, then this is a must-play. You need to play this game, because you might as well. It's free for you, basically. Other than your subscription price, it's free. Pick it up and play it. It's worth it. But yeah, when it comes to paying full retail $60, I would wait. I think probably $30 to $40 is more fair for this game. I wouldn't pay more than that. I would hope that they eventually come out with a physical copy, because there's also not a physical copy for Xbox yet. It's only digitally. So, paying $30, $40 for a digital-only copy, yeah, that's a bit harsh in my opinion. So, wait for a physical copy, hopefully, for, to come out, and wait for it to drop to $30 to $40. I would not pay $60 for a digital game, no matter what. And I also would not pay, honestly, I wouldn't even pay $30, $40 for a digital game, especially this game, because there's just not enough content there to justify that price tag. But if you can get it physically for $30 to $40, I think that would be worth it when it eventually, hopefully, comes out physically. The game overall, it is fun, and if you can play it on Game Pass, that is definitely the way to do it. That way you don't have to drop a $60 price tag. Even if you just pay for 1 month of Xbox Game Pass just to play it, I think it's worth it, because you're paying $15 for a month, and you get to play the game through, and you don't have to worry about spending $60 on it, and I think that's a great deal right there. So Game Pass, to me, is definitely the way to play this game. I always give games a score whenever they're brand new like this, so I'll go ahead and give this a score out of 8 out of 10. I would give it higher if it had actually endgame content, if it had more endgame content, but unfortunately it doesn't. And also the humor, like I said, it's not really my type of humor. I know a lot of people will probably enjoy it, but I'm just not a fan of this type of humor. It's definitely more of, let's say a bunch of just crazy stuff really fast and it'll be funny, and it just doesn't really work for me. A lot of the kind of like awkward humor, or even like drug humor and stuff like that, and it's not funny to me personally. I don't really care for it. But I do like the gameplay, and I do like the world, and I like how just crazy this game is. I like that it doesn't take itself super serious. And even though the comedy doesn't really hit for me, I know it's going to hit for most people. So there you go. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe button down below. Check out High on Life on Xbox Game Pass if you get the chance. That is definitely the way to play this game, or wait for it to come out physically for around $40 or so, or wait for it to go on sale digitally for like, you know, 20, 30 bucks. Again, don't spend a whole $60 on this game. It's not worth it. But it is fun if you can play it through Game Pass. I'll talk to you next time. You have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.